Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first annual GramAE ceremony. My name is Nikki. I am from Illinois. I am a part of the Aspiring Educator Advisory Committee, along with the Student IEA Executive Committee, serving as a racial and social justice coordinator. And I'm also a secondary ed history major.
Hey, Union fam! Who's ready to celebrate our first annual GramAE ceremony? My name is Brenda Quispe. I'm a student leader at California, and my major is multiple subject credential.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. My name is Katie Vogt and I am from Wisconsin. I am currently the outgoing state president for the Aspiring Educators program there, and I'm on the advisory committee with Nikki and Brenda here. We are so excited to be here, and I'm also a secondary history education major.
So we really hope that you guys enjoyed our pre-GramAEs show with DJ Heat. Brenda, what did you enjoy about the performance?
Well, all those positive vibes. What a way to start the night. I'm so excited. What about you, Nikki?
You know what? I got to give it to DJ Heat, shouting out all the hot girl teachers, all the hot boy teachers, period. Yes. Hot teacher summer. That's all I want to hear this summer.
Well, I'm super excited to share all the awards with everyone this evening. What about you, Katie? What are you looking forward for these awards?
I am so excited to share with everybody on the call tonight about all the amazing work aspiring educators have done during this crazy year. We have some amazing student leaders we're going to talk about. We have amazing state organizers we're going to shout out. So it's going to be a great night, and I'm just super excited for it. What about you, Brenda?
Wow, I'm really excited to highlight our advisors, our local and statewide advisors.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And I think even though we're facing these crazy and previously unimaginable challenges, I think aspiring educators all across the country have just risen to the occasion. And I'm so excited to be celebrating with all of you tonight. And I also want to give a shout out to my home state in Wisconsin. I mean, even throughout this entire pandemic, we were still able to really push forward with the things that were important to us. Every year we hold a social justice conference in the spring, and we were still able to hold the conference, and we actually had an even bigger number of attendees than we usually do, and we were actually able to bond even closer than we had before because we knew that our work was even more important than ever. So, I mean, it was a really exciting time definitely over this past year. But Nikki, tell us, what was something that you were really proud of your chapter, your state for during this chaotic year?
Well, Student IEA had the opportunity to host 2 conferences this past year, which was an amazing experience. We had some awesome professional development sessions for our members, and we just got to be able to have that space, even though, considering the circumstances of this pandemic.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love to hear that. Shout out to my southern neighbor, Illinois. Awesome. We got to work with some of your amazing state leaders over this past year. So Wisconsin definitely appreciates y'all. And now I just want to take a moment to really talk about all the teachers that we've had previously. I think that we're all here because we had a really impactful teacher growing up. And I know that some of you watching tonight definitely had impactful teachers as well. But Nikki, I want to throw it over to you. Tell us about one of your favorite teachers growing up or one of the most impactful teachers that you've had.
Definitely. So I had this wonderful teacher in high school. It was my sophomore year of high school, Dr. Esposito. He was the department chair for my history department at my high school, and he advocated for so long to have a racial and social justice course added to our curriculum through the history department. And even though there was backlash from some of our community members that didn't want it, he still fought for it and eventually got it passed. So that's one of my favorite teachers that I've ever had. What about you?
Yeah, that is so awesome. I think we all need teachers who really fight for racial and social justice, definitely. My favorite teacher, shout out to Mr. Adamson from Wisconsin. He was also my high school history teacher, and he was a really dynamic teacher. I mean, I think sometimes history teachers get a bad rap about being boring, but they can also be super engaging and exciting. So he was always cracking jokes, being super funny in class, but he also, Nikki, similar to your teacher, I mean, he really was all about racial and social justice through history, but also in the classroom. So he really made me and other students feel heard in his classroom, which is definitely something that I want to emulate in my own classroom for sure. And I still like sometimes email with him like, hey, I'm doing this really cool lesson. I'm so excited. So I definitely appreciate him a whole lot. But Brenda, tell us about your favorite teacher. Who is somebody that you really appreciated growing up?
Someone that I really appreciate is my professor, Dr. Soroki, a history professor at Fresno City College. He was actually the advisor to the chapter of aspiring educators there. When I started, I was very shy. I was not at all the person I am today, and he's seen me grow. He was so supportive. He was there for me, and outside of my family and friends, he was like the first person that I felt truly believed in me, that I can do it all. And so I'm very thankful for him.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I think like that like relationship piece is so important in our profession. So it's really cool to just hear that, like, not just like in regular like K through 12 elementary, but even in higher education, there's still some amazing educators out there. But I really love hearing about those stories. That's so fun to hear. Definitely. And I'm sure everybody watching at home and texting in the group me, everybody's definitely got some awesome teachers that inspired them to be here today and inspire them to be the future teacher that they are ready to be. But to help us get ready to celebrate all that we have accomplished this year together, despite the odds stacked against us, we are so excited to introduce our musical guest for tonight. As future educators, we know how important it is to empower our students to use their voices. You know, Nikki, Brenda, and I just talked about some of our favorite and most impactful teachers. And we know everybody, again, watching has had some of those teachers in their life. And what's really exciting is that we're going to be that teacher for somebody else. We're going to be that teacher that touches lives, that touches kids, and touches communities. And I think that that is just such an awesome thing to do as a teacher and as an aspiring educator. And I really think like anytime we can lift up the talents or the passions or the interests of our students, our schools and our world just become a better place. They become a more fun place, and they become a more inclusive place. And so here tonight with us, we have an amazing group of high schoolers from Wisconsin who are ready to share their voices and use their voices with us. So shout out to my home state. They're going to be singing the song Glory by Common and John Legend. And this song, I think, really embodies the theme of our conference of working towards a better future for our students and educators all across the United States, no matter where you are from. We know that creating a better future is not an easy process. I think the big theme of our union solidarity is being able to work together and be able to really flourish as a union together. And so I think that you're really going to hear a lot of those similar themes and concepts of solidarity, protest, and democracy you've been hearing about throughout the course of this conference. And I am just genuinely so excited to be hearing from these students and to be celebrating with all of you tonight. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Brandon Rockstro and the Trojan Singers from Green Bay Southwest High School in Wisconsin.
on to the finish. And then when it's all done, now the war is not over. Victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. And then when it's all done,
we'll cry glory, oh glory, ooh, ooh, we'll cry glory, oh glory, ooh, ooh.
now the war is not over. Victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. And then when it's all done, now the war is not over. Victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. And then when it's all done, now the war is not over. Victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. And then when it's all done.
This is not a problem for one group or one party. Each person must strive to end what was started. MLK had a dream of a table where we'd all sit, moving toward that dream. We cannot quit.
Each man and woman deserves their justice. You can't believe that it's just us who's being persecuted. Everybody's got a story. I know one day everybody's gonna see the glory.
The glory is us, united as one. No injustice, ignorance, judgment, or guns can win this war against division and discrimination. But we can demand a land with no hatred.
Can't you see the greatness that's in all of us? Especially when we give love, honor, and trust. So let's stop this abomination and start loving this one, giving this one, caring this one, feeling this one, growing this one. Yeah, that's right. We're talking living as one.
Oh, one day I'll turn again, but for now, we know we got this. We are Green Bay.
Education is the most powerful weapon with which you can use to change the world. One thing that lights my fire each day as I work tirelessly to support and advocate for educators is that the incoming generations are not just educators, they are education activists. Believe in our power. This work is happening. It's happening all around us. The students have spoken, and it is up to us to do our due diligence and listen to them and let them lead us into a future where a safe, socially, and racially just, free public education is what they can use to transform this country. Thank you all so much for being here.
Start to tonight's award ceremony. Wow, what an incredible start to tonight's award ceremony. I'm so excited to celebrate our first award nominees and recipients of the evening. Nikki, what did you like about the high school from Wisconsin?
I love the fact that each student in that video had their own chance to have a little bit of a solo and get to use their voice in that video. What did you think about the Our Voice, Our Power video? You should tell us more about what goes on in your local or student CTA, what they do to use their voice.
Wow, I love the video. Shout out to Cameo for putting together such an inspiring video. In California, Student CTA is working on finding our voice. We're using spaces as attending meetings to make sure there's equity among student teachers. We're making sure that we have the right budget so then we can do things and advocate and do more for our members. Also, for tonight, I'm super excited to hear about the awards. What about you, Nikki?
Well, our first award will be giving out to the State and Local Excellence Awards. Our core values are educator quality, community engagement, political action, and social justice are the embodiment of our program. We are giving out these 2 awards to a local chapter or state program that has exemplified and engaged their members by executing these values. Both of these winners did an incredible job this year engaging members and creating space to develop the next generation of educators ready to change the world. The nominees and winners for the Local and State Excellence Recognition Awards are The nominees and winners for Local and State Excellence Recognition Awards are Pitt Greensburg student PSEA worked so hard this year. Some of my favorite were their 2020 election events, including their trick or vote. They also worked to address the disparities in their local school districts due to COVID and lack of technology. with mini workshops and trainings, one including voice over technology. I would have absolutely loved that. Great job, guys. Wow, Michigan, we saw you engage your members with community service projects that included school supply drives, t-shirt fundraisers, all to purchase books for child advocacy centers. In the fall, AEM hosted a chat night with Michigan's Lieutenant Governor, allowing members to ask questions regarding public education policies, the future of the profession, and important goals for education. Aspiring educators of Michigan, you are so deserving of this award. The Emerging Local Chapter is an award to recognize a brand new chapter that emerged by engaging aspiring educators by practicing NEA's core values and work this year to show growth and strength of our aspiring educator program. I'm going to pass it over to Brenda to share more with you about this year's Emerging Chapter Award.
The nominees for Emerging Chapter are Northern Arizona University aspiring educators led the way during an important election year. They hosted several virtual voting booths, and they also hosted a night with their NAU Black Student Union to have a dialogue about what educators can do to advocate for students of color. California State University Channel Islands became an official chapter of the Student California Teacher Association this year. As a student in California, seeing the work they did to organize, gather a petition, get the signatures, speak up at meetings to end an inequitable requirement, wow, this showed us the power of the AE voice. Emerging chapters are the heart of the progress and growth of our union.
And the winner is Northern Arizona University. Congrats. In July, the Aspiring Ed chapter at NAU demanded Flagstaff United School District, the local school district within their campus community, to stay in virtual learning for the start of the 2020 school year. The chapter recruited members and partnered with multiple organizations to flood the public statement section during the school board meeting. the school board ended up approving a resolution to start the school year in virtual learning. We are so inspired by the fact that you organized, created change, and brought in new members while doing so, showing what Union Strong means. Congratulations.
Hello, aspiring educators. It gives me great pleasure this afternoon to be the NEA retired member who gets to recognize this year's winners of the Jack Kinnaman Scholarships. In the early 2000s, Jack was the vice president of NEA Retired. He always had a place in his heart for NEA's student members, and when he died unexpectedly, his family donated funds and asked that they be used to set up a scholarship in his memory for what was not yet called the Aspiring Educators. In 2002, one scholarship was awarded for $1,000. This year, we are very pleased that we are awarding 5 scholarships for $2,500 each. And those winners are Madeline Burke, a senior from the University of Oregon; Will Crawford, a freshman from the University of Tennessee; Tatiana Oni, a junior from Collin College in Texas; Hannah St. Clair, a sophomore from the University of Oregon; and Kelsey Zetzel, a senior from Butler University in Indiana. Congratulations to you all, and to those who would like to be so honored next year, a few words of information about the scholarships. Up until this year, the applications had to be sent in hard copy via snail mail. This year's applicants could choose either online or mail. We had 19 applications, and all 19 were online. So if you apply next year, January 1st to April 15th, be sure to follow the application instructions carefully. And where will you find applications? Go to the Aspiring Educators section of NEA.org. Finally, in closing, I'd like to welcome all of you to what I, after having been a teacher for 40 years, still call the wonderful world of teaching.
Hi everyone, my name is Tori Mitchell, and I am a first-year educator here to tell all of you aspiring educators to apply for NEA Retired's Jack Kinnaman Scholarship. I have received this scholarship twice, and I am so incredibly grateful for it. The second time I received it was my student teaching semester, and it allowed me to not have to work while I full-time student taught, so I could just focus on my students. The application is super easy, just a couple of letters of recommendation and a short essay, so there's really no reason not to apply. Good luck with your applications.
Welcome to the GramAEs, sponsored by Aspiring Ed Juice and Mind Zapper.
Aspiring Ed Juice comes in 2 flavors, Zoom Bang and Low Cal Clear Cal. Find Aspiring Ed Juice in the drink aisle of your local grocery store. And now, a brief message from our proud sponsors.
cow, clear cow.
Did you buy it?
By what?
It.
It what?
Low cal, clear cal. I didn't see you there. Mixing up your dates? Try emptying out your calendar with low cal, clear cal. You see, in the real world, I was never this popular. Now in the virtual world, I have so many invites, I can't even keep count. You see, I almost forgot this week was the AEC. That's why I got low cal, clear cal.
Zoom bang.
Introducing Zoom Bang. Are you burned out from a year and a half of virtual meetings and conference calls? Take the edge off of your Zoom fatigue with this new and not yet FDA approved energy drink, Zoom Bang. Now that I have Zoom Bang, I can get through the day and AEC. The GramAEs are also proudly sponsored by Mind Zapper.
Wow, it's been an incredibly crazy, ecstatic, stressful year, long like this sentence. Want to forget the terrible memories? Order your Mind Zapper today. Want to forget about the awkwardness of staring people down for not maintaining social distancing? Stay away 6 feet.
Mind Zap! Want to forget the surprise and confusion that arises when someone approaches you without a mask on? Mind Zap!
Want to forget those days where you were studying during COVID and your neighbors were having a party? Mind Zap!
Welcome back to the GramAEs. The sponsors, Aspiring Ed Juice and Mind Zapper, hope you have a wonderful AEC.
Welcome back to the first annual NEA GramAE Awards ceremony. Katie, what did you think about those Aspiring Ed Juice commercials?
Oh my gosh, y'all. I don't know if we can give out awards, but like Grammys, Emmys, AE awards for writing, directing, acting. It was so good. Shout out to Roman with the wig. I love it. I'm seeing some grouping chats about how this is not FDA approved, but this is like Aspiring Ed approved. So I think it's fine. But definitely that was cracking me up. Shout out to everybody who worked on those. That was awesome. Nikki, what drink do you wish you had more of? Either the Zoom Bang or the low cal, clear cal? Which one are you feeling?
You know, I've never been much of a low cal type of person or a diet soda type of person, but Zoom Big, honestly, it sounds like something I need to drink every day. Also, I think it's awesome that, you know, it's a little bit of an Aspiring Ed running joke that Roman's mom likes to make appearances during meetings, and the fact that she made an appearance for this commercial is just amazing, and I wouldn't expect anything less. So shout out to Roman's mom. We love you.
Yes, shout out to Roman's mom.
Yes, shout out to the scholarship winners as well. Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, no, serious shout out to all those scholarship winners. I mean, it's such a great opportunity for people to apply to the Jack Kinnaman Scholarship. So definitely underclassmen, keep an eye out for it. Next year, we want to see a bunch of applications for that. Also, NEA Retired is really giving back to our program, which is so awesome. And it's really exciting to think that one day we're going to be the teachers that are giving back to our students and giving back to our communities by letting our students have a leg up or an additional helping hand when it comes to anything education related or even life related. So really shout out to the scholarship winners, but also shout out to NEA Retired as well. And Nikki, so if you could tell us about our next award, that'd be awesome.
For sure. Our next awards are for outstanding state and local leaders. These awards go to individuals who have acted as an integral leader in building their local chapters to achieve excellence. demonstrated and inspired outstanding local or state aspiring education chapter.
Yeah, and to qualify for these awards, these leaders had to have a proven dedication to our core values as aspiring educators. They had to demonstrate that they truly believed and acted on the ideas of community engagement, educator quality, political action, and social justice. Both of these leaders showed professional and leadership skills, participated in community service, provided civic engagement opportunities for themselves and their members. They also worked tirelessly to achieve racial and social justice. The nominees for outstanding state and local leaders are serving as UC Student Education Association president. She managed to increase her chapter's numbers even during the pandemic and received grants to actually fund inclusive and BIPOC children's books and literature to her local elementary school. So thank you so much to Elizabeth for all of her hard work. Education Association chairperson, Dylan created the hashtag I Need to Say This campaign last summer, and members were actually able to speak to their support for Black Lives Matter. This was an excellent example of achieving racial and social justice in Illinois, and he also went on to create a scholarship fund for any students who needed any economic assistance by creating a fund to pay for their chapter dues. So thank you so much, Dylan, for everything that you did in Illinois. Roman is currently serving as Student IEA's chair-elect, the NEA Hispanic Caucus Student Director, and the NEA Director for Aspiring Educators. Roman has done so much from his time in high school all the way to his time in college, from working with communities with local food pantries to advocating for more education issues with the Biden campaign in Illinois during the campaign. Thank you so much, Roman, for everything that you've done for our program. And the winners for Outstanding State and Local Leader are Elizabeth Horvath from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign for Outstanding Local Leader. Thank you so much for your service to our program. Again, I just want to shout out Elizabeth for everything that she's done. Her nominators really wanted to emphasize that she is a cooperative and responsible leader. Everything that she did was so excellent this past year, and they were able to really increase membership despite everything going on in the pandemic. She worked with cooperatively with a local elementary school to get more inclusive educational materials for the students that went to that school. She also did an excellent job advocating politically and for social justice within her chapter. So again, shout out to Elizabeth. Thank you so much for everything. And the outstanding state leader is Roman Trejo from Illinois. Again, thank you so much, Roman. Roman, again, currently serves as the Student IEA Chair-elect and the NEA Hispanic Caucus Student Director and the NEA Director for Aspiring Educators. Again, he has just done so much for our program. He organized a community dance that focuses on Latinx music and dance culture in order to establish a scholarship for high school seniors. He worked with the Joe Biden campaign to really advocate for education issues during the campaign within Illinois. And as an NEA director, he really advocated for the needs and issues of aspiring educators in his district. He also encouraged his fellow members to stand in solidarity with the Chicago Teachers Union as they protested. He also has done so much for Hispanic students and Latino students during DACA clinics and Dreamers Are Welcome clinics and Know Your Rights clinics. So again, thank you so much to Roman and congratulations.
Former NBPTS board member Peggy Brookins, NBCT, joined the National Board as Executive Vice President in December 2014 and was named President and CEO in November 2015. Her long career as an educator includes many national leadership positions and accolades. In July 2014, President Barack Obama named Brookins as a member of the President's Advisory Commission on Educational Excellence for African Americans. She came to the National Board from the Engineering and Manufacturing Institute of Technology at Forest High School in Ocala, Florida, which she co-founded in 1994 and where she served as director and as a mathematics instructor. She served on the NBPTS board from 2007 to 2011. In addition, she has served on the board of the Conference of Mathematical Sciences Ad Hoc Committee on Teachers as Professionals, the Content Working Group for the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers, a commissioner on the Council for the Accreditation of Educator Prep, P21 Executive Board, and the Southern Regional Education Board, Teacher Prep Commission, and multiple advisory boards advocating for our students every single day. She is a Florida Education Association Everyday Hero and received the association's Excellence in Teaching Award. We are so pleased to have her in this space today. Please help me welcome Peggy Brookins.
Hi, I'm Peggy Brookins, a National Board Certified teacher. And after teaching and leading an engineering school in Florida for 38 years, I'm proud to say that I'm now the president and CEO of the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. I wish I could be with you in person, but even by video, I hope to leave you with a better sense of what National Board is, our relationship with the NEA, and a sense of how important you are to the future of this profession. My team and I spend our days working to assure that the teaching profession is as strong as it can possibly be. At the National Board, we set the standards for what excellent teachers should know and be able to do, and 128,000 teachers have earned National Board certification and proven they teach to these high standards. They are classroom leaders, school leaders, community leaders, and they are role models. We work to impact the teaching profession broadly, to make teachers better, and to help them have an even greater impact on student learning. It's incredibly rewarding work because ultimately, students, schools, and communities are positively affected. I regularly hear from teachers and their students who tell me that studying the National Board standards and working to evolve their teaching changed their professional lives. A teacher in the Navajo Nation told me that after pursuing National Board certification, she was more confident, and she refreshed her approach to student and family engagement and supporting high needs communities. An educator from Baltimore connects with me regularly to tell me why, after teaching for a few years, she chose National Board certification. She points out ways it provided a career path and allows her to make a broad impact on her school and her students. I just heard from our newly named National Teacher of the Year, Juliana Urtubey, who said she looks forward to working with the National Board to transform and elevate the teaching profession. There are schools of education and school districts that embedded National Board certification into their programs for early career educators. In many states, there are tangible benefits for teachers to become National Board certified, financial and other benefits. But the value really has to do with the mindset of reflection, self-improvement, and ongoing development. Given the venue and where we are on the agenda, I want to switch gears and talk briefly about our work with the NEA. Since our inception 33 years ago, the National Board has partnered with the NEA, from its top leadership to individual NEA chapters and members around the country. This partnership includes several elements. NEA believes in our mission of driving quality teaching, and they support our work by assuring member awareness. We're aligned that National Board certification should be an integral part of every educator's career. Across the country, union chapters work directly with teachers, supporting them as they go through the National Board process. In part, this work is a member benefit, helping members advance their teaching and their careers. And together, we work to assure high quality, highly engaged, and forward-thinking teaching as a profession. This is really about valuing student and teacher diversity. We see education as a pathway to social justice. When looking at the inspiring educator core values, I'm inspired by the degree to which they overlap with what drives me at the National Board and what National Board certified teachers stand for. Even with my years in the field, somehow I remain shocked when I see the disparity of opportunity and achievement across racial and ethnic groups. I am incredulous when I hear students of color say that they have never been taught by a teacher of color. And I'm saddened when I hear of an educator leaving the profession just a year or two into their careers. And I know that teachers of color leave at even greater numbers. And I get angry when I see violence in our communities. And I know that we can do better. We have to do better. High quality teachers and strong schools provide a step in the right direction to address these societal changes. And I am committed to the belief that National Board certification is a pathway to opportunities to each of these cases. Those teachers I referenced earlier, the educator in the Navajo Nation, the teacher in Baltimore who I regularly speak with, and Juliana, who is the National Teacher of the Year, they share several attributes aside from being National Board certified. The one quality they share is that they are all early career educators. They also embody the values of high quality teaching, community engagement, political action, and social justice. They each, in their own ways and in their own varied communities, engage their students in a way that will help them end the cycles of negativity. They are helping students and communities move towards better lives, develop academic skills, enhance their social, emotional skills, and find a pathway to success. They are remarkable, committed, engaged, and smart. You are no different. And that's my challenge to you. Educators change lives, but educators' lives get changed by what we do. This field is about so much more than teaching, reading, or math, or science, though it's about all of those things. Teaching is about changing lives. It's about preparing students from a young age through high school and beyond to thrive as adults in a challenging world. So you have a challenge and now a hope. My hope is that you find a home in this profession, one that enables you to learn, grow, and thrive, to develop yourselves, and then to have an impact. Because I can think of no better way to spend a career than teaching and changing lives. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the conference.
The road to the White House honors 3 simple yet powerful words: Black Lives Matter. This plaza is iconic, like the memorials to Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King Jr. It symbolizes the struggle for freedom and equality. As members of the National Education Association, we gather in these sacred places to demand justice and equity for Black lives in all places, in all forms. It is our responsibility as educators to ensure that every student feels welcome in school. Some may try to divide us, but we know that working together, we can make a better future. To our Black students, colleagues, and families, you matter. Your trauma matters. Your voice matters. Your protest matters. Your dreams matter. We mourn with you. We stand with you. And we organize with you to demand change.
We demand
a re-examination of the role of law enforcement in our communities and our schools. We must dismantle unjust policies that disproportionately impact Black people.
We demand
investment in the physical, mental, and economic health and growth of Black people. That means addressing the ways corporations have exploited and stolen wealth from Black and Native communities and then making them whole.
We demand
that Black educator and student voices be included in decisions that impact their schools and their communities. When students, families, and educators come together to ensure racial justice in public schools, it strengthens the entire community.
We demand
free, fair, and accessible elections. We must end voter suppression tactics politicians use to keep communities of color from having a voice in our government. The future is the sum of the changes we demand, the courage we display, how we stand with each other and for each other. Together, we can rewrite the rules and hold decision makers accountable to guarantee justice for Black lives in our schools and our communities. We will not rest until there is a future where Black lives thrive.
This has been such a great night, from our NBCT speaker to Becky talking to us about our support for Black Lives Matter. Brenna, tell us, what did you think about the BLM video?
Yeah, to piggy off what our NEA president Becky said, we must work together to demand change. I also really enjoyed the NBCT teacher. She values the importance of diversity in students and educators. What are your thoughts, Katie?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it was really interesting to hear from somebody with her credential and her experience. I also really appreciated her discussion of talking about Teachers of the Year and kind of what they bring to the table. I was actually able to meet Wisconsin's Teacher of the Year for 2020, and she was so awesome. I mean, she really embodied our goals of racial and social justice. One of her really key lessons that she teaches to her 6th graders in social studies is the idea of representation and how representation matters. One of her really interesting activities that she did was she would take a chapter of the textbook and take out all of the references to males, take out all the references to white people in the textbook, and she would replace them with only pictures of women and people of color. And she would only put in pictures of girls, like young, very like little, like kindergartners, in the pictures of the textbook. And the idea here was that the students would come in and they would say, well, this doesn't look right. This is all just like about one group of people. And so that doesn't really represent our history, it doesn't represent what's going on. She's like, do you see now like the importance of having multiple perspectives and having a diverse and inclusive history? And like, it blew these sixth graders' minds, but it also blew mine to have something so simple like that be incorporated into our classrooms. And so I definitely really appreciated her just touching on a little bit about Teachers of the Year. She also mentioned a little bit about early career educators and their importance. Brenda, does California have an early career educator program? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Katie. Representation matters. We must actively work to recruit, retain, and cultivate educators of color. I'm so proud of the work in California being done. We have spaces where our teacher union actively works to identify educators of color early on and get them started on a leadership program. And they actually opened it up for aspiring educators. So we had several student CTA members be part of that program. And this opens the doors for more leadership opportunities and for us to grow and strengthen our union.
That's so cool. We have a similar program in Wisconsin. We have just like the Wisconsin Early Career Educators, and one of their main goals is to work with the Aspiring Educators program and essentially help people transition from active aspiring educator to active union member wherever you are in the state. I can imagine that in California, that's probably a little bit more challenging because your state is so much bigger. But in Wisconsin, I mean, it's a new group, but it's a really cool and fun organization. They'll try and like piggyback off of our social media. So we'll like take over their social media and then they'll take over ours. It's really cool. Yeah, and they're just a super inclusive group, and they're full of educators who are at least between 1 and 7 years into their program. And so, I mean, we talk about this and how awesome it is. So if your state doesn't have something similar or Aspiring Ed isn't involved, we of course encourage you to reach out to your state organizer, reach out to your chapter advisors, and see if you can get connected with your early career educators in your state. Something my local chapter did was we actually reached out to our local union in our local school district, and myself as well as my co-president, we ended up going to a couple union meetings, and we ended up sitting in on like the actual discussions of what was going on and how we can make change from within the district itself. So it was a really interesting experience. So I definitely encourage you all to get in touch with your early career educators for sure. But now let's take a look at some of our next awards. We know the importance of having a supportive chapter advisor and a state organizer. The NEA Aspiring Educators Outstanding Local Advisor and Outstanding State Organizer Awards really recognize individuals for their dedication and service to NEA aspiring educators by serving as either a chapter advisor or at the state level as a state organizer.
Yeah, we are so glad to have such marvelous advisors. They have been instrumental in ensuring that the needs of aspiring educators are met. We want to recognize these individuals who have gone above and beyond for aspiring educators. Katie, did you have an advisor that was important to your AE career?
Yeah, definitely. I think I had two that I want to give a shout out to. So first was my local chapter advisor. His name was Dr. Z from Whitewater, and he had been with the program for literally 25 years. I mean, he was there through thick and thin. He was there when the union was strong and when we were going through some tough times. And he had just such an amazing institutional knowledge of everything. And he was so excited about our program. And he really just inspired us to be better, inspired us to really keep pushing and to learn what makes our profession special, really. And then also our state organizer, Duff Martin, he really has always been there for us. He has always been such a supporter of our program and really just an excellent and really just a strong advocate for us. So those are definitely my two really important advisors that I've had throughout my AE career. But Brenda, tell us, like, have you ever had any like really strong advisors with your time in AE?
Definitely. Like I mentioned, Dr. Soroki, my local advisor at Fresno City College, but also at the statewide level, we recently had our amazing Gail Watts. She retired, and we're going to miss her deeply because she definitely galed us on so many social justice issues, and we wouldn't have been the people we are today without her guidance. And we welcome our new amazing statewide organizer, Sam DeMuro, who is coming from our teacher union communications department. So we're really excited for just an amazing year, and it's just to set the tone for the years to come.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Brenda. That's so awesome. Shout out to your advisor, all that service. That's so awesome. And I'm sure so many of you who are watching tonight have advisors in AE, but also in your lives that are super important that may not be educators. Definitely reach out to them, thank them, because as we're about to celebrate, they are so important. So let's hear about some of these nominees. The nominees for Distinguished Chapter Advisor and State Organizer are
want to remind everybody to please join, because we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance for that cool Chromebook raffle. So if you are a member, it would be a good time to re-up.
Jeff Lang from NAU is the local and state advisor, and Jeff really emphasized the importance of collaboration and networking as teachers. With this in mind, the chapter there really took his advice and established a book club across the state so they could start networking and also educating themselves about important issues. So we just really want to shout out Jeff Lang and say thank you so much for all your hard work. Professor Ed Gomez is the Student CTA Chapter Advisor at San Bernardino Valley College. And they wanted to point out that Ed doesn't just attend their weekly meetings, but he really inspires them to be more than they are. And that really stood out to me in their application. Ed knows all of the professors all over campus, so he really encourages people to attend their local meetings. And he also really emphasizes the importance of social justice within these meetings. And again, we just really want to thank Ed for all of his hard work. Hinchy is the Student Illinois Education Association State Organizer, and she's been there for about 12 years now, so an awesome amount of service. And when she took on that role, she really transformed the program into a real student-driven and staff-advised organization that promotes the core values, but also really places an emphasis on student voice. So I really want to give her a shout-out and all of her hard work over 12 years of service. And the winners are Professor Ed Gomez from Student CTA Chapter at San Bernardino Valley College. I really want to talk about how they really emphasize that he's not just an advisor, but he is a mentor and a real champion for their program. They're the only chapter statewide to have their students get their membership dues reimbursed because he really recognized that this was a challenging time for students all across the state. So he really focused in on their chapter and made sure that they were able to get the resources that they need. And that is just such an amazing example of somebody who's going the extra mile to help students with anything that they need to be successful. He also is always about the news, always trying to update people on what's going on within the college and how society actually affects the chapter itself. So he has really taken time to educate himself his colleagues, and the students in the chapter themselves. So again, just an amazing amount of service, and we really want to give him a shout out. He also has really, again, just pushed people to get outside of their comfort zones and fight for racial and social justice, regardless of their comfort level to begin. He's all about being inclusive and reaching out to people as they are growing on this journey of inclusivity and racial justice. And finally, for Distinguished State Organizer, congratulations to Meredith Hinchy from Illinois. Again, without fail, she has been a steadfast ally of the program for the last 12 years. They mentioned in the application that she is always communicating with the state chairperson and the state student officer team, which we all know is invaluable to our success as students and aspiring educators communicating with our associations. Planning these events, Meredith has been an absolute ally and a team player when it comes to making sure that student voice is absolutely heard within these programs. And I really admire how much Meredith truly embodied all of those core values within everything that she did in her daily life, but also in her work with aspiring educators. So again, thank you so much to Meredith for your 12 years of service, and congratulations.
Being a first-year educator, feeling overwhelmed, very alone, trying to make the next day better than the one you just had, NEA has seen that teachers at that level really need support, because if we are supported, the students will be more successful.
To me, the most important piece in education is the child. Being a part of your union is so important because it gives you a voice about decisions that are made that's going to affect the babies that we teach each and every day.
NEA has given me the voice that I didn't know that I had within. I get professional development. I have a community of support from my leaders, and I always have somebody that I know that's in my corner.
I joined the union so that I could provide a better future for myself, for my family, for my students, as well as for my fellow colleagues. I truly believe that we must make our education system better and more efficient.
As I started getting more involved, I saw the advocacy side of it and realized that I have so much more power to change the landscape of education.
The union has given me a voice for myself. I'm more confident in my job, more confident that what I'm doing is the right thing.
I was able to be trained to become a better educator so I could, in turn, go out and train other educators.
It's really reassuring knowing that I already have a community of thousands of educators that are always going to be willing to help me and lift me up.
The union definitely feels like a family.
We take care of each other. We look out for each other.
If there's an educator who's thinking about joining NEA and you're on the fence, I would say, don't wait. Do it now.
It can be life-changing.
I have someone who is there to stand up for me as an educator.
In order for you to have a say-so in your profession, you need to make sure you have a voice, and the union is that voice.
Hello, NEA aspiring educators and GramAE attendees. I hope that you all have enjoyed tonight. Congratulations to all of the winners that we've shared with you all tonight, as well as those that were nominated. I also want to say congratulations and thank you to all of you that I know have added so much to your plates this year in the hopes of creating change in other aspiring educators around you, in your hopes to create a better public education system for our students. The next award tonight is a special one. I love this hashtag. I use it on social media all the time because I feel like it can mean so many things. And it is the hashtag Aspiring Ed Life Award. So what does this award mean? This award was kind of brought about from something that happened at the 2019 NEA Representative Assembly. So at that Representative Assembly in front of 10,000 educators from across the country, a group of aspiring educator delegates came together to put on the floor an NBI, which is a new business item to be heard by all of those incredible leaders in that space. This NBI asked that the NEA recognizes aspiring educators in a different way, in a new way, during a celebration of what it is to be an aspiring educator. Hashtag aspiring ed life. As aspiring educators, you get it, you know the vibes. We juggle so much. Full-time classes, the issues in our teacher prep programs and what carrying that weight around is like, finding the funds to get us through the testing and the other components of our teacher prep programs, as well as the time and the strength to continue with our educational journeys. There are so many other responsibilities, and as you saw tonight, so many of our members take all of those responsibilities in stride, and they still continue to do more. We have jobs, we have families. So many of you all are first generation higher education seekers. And we also carry with us each day just the general weight of the world and what it is to be a human right now in this time, and just sprinkle on top of that like some little confetti. Apparently we just lived through a pandemic. I guess it's still going on, depending on what state you're in, but just add that on top of everything. So the NEA Aspiring Ed Life Award was birthed from all of this. This year, we engaged in a Aspiring Ed Life Week, which was amazing. We had opportunities each day to share different things about ourselves, to share pictures of us in the good old times when we used to be able to see people and give hugs and like all of those things. I can't wait to get back to that. It's coming. Again, depending on what state, you may already be doing that. But we used each day throughout that week to spread just like love and joy of all of the things that we do and will continue to do. So each year, aspiring ed members push the dials, and they push themselves to find ways to juggle all of what makes them an aspiring educator, all of what makes them a leader, and all of what makes them the people that are going to do some work, are going to bring people in, are going to create opportunities for fellow aspiring educators, and commit themselves to creating a stronger NEA Aspiring Educator program so that it is more visible, so that we're able to find more people on our campuses. We are able to engage and find and support so that we can actually keep more aspiring educators of color. They work hard to create a stronger program so that we can bring in more of what will be the incoming generations of educators, and all in the spirit and hope that we can inspire, educate, and transform those incoming generations of educators into generations of teachers and principals and ESPs that are worthy of teaching our students. So, the 2021 nominees for the Aspiring Ed Life State Award and the Aspiring Ed Life National Award are First, I want to say congratulations to all of the nominees. You are the NEA, and your work, commitment, and your love has created real change. Thank you for all that you did for our program to have such an incredible year. Brenda, you know I love you. You are so incredible. You always decide that you're just going to do more. We get each other on the mommy tip. So it's like I understand the things that are happening like right here, sometimes connected to you as you juggle all of the things that you do. I am so inspired by you, mi hermana para siempre. I am so glad that I got to meet you and get to lead with you. Alexandria Marie Toy, my union sister for life. We have been through years together of just learning and growing and being little union babies. And then apparently we found our voice. Is this thing on? And going on to speak in spaces and say what needs to be said and challenge and push this association to do what it is that we know it should, can, and because of us will do. Chemo. Anytime I'm in a Zoom meeting with Chemo, I think it's funny to hop in the chat and be like, Chemo, I'm your #1 fan. But like legit, Chemo, you are so amazing. Just the vibe and energy that you bring into all of the spaces that you're in, even in like a Zoom camera situation, is so amazing. You are so creative, and you also are so willing to build community amongst aspiring educators, but also non-aspiring educators. Having events with other organizations on your campus, but also recognizing that although maybe their major is not education, it could be. And even if it is not, and it won't be, that they have a perspective that is valuable to us as future educators because they were students. And they have their own life journeys and life paths. Jonathan Oyaga from California. Where did you come from? You are amazing. I don't know how you have the hours in the day in which you have. The social media posts, you all, are next level. I don't understand how you're not like aspiring at Instagram famous, Facebook famous. Just pulling together so many incredible things and sharing it out in a way that is relatable and is something that people want to read and they want to know more, and they are inspired by. Thank you so much for all of the ways that you share your heart with so many people. So, the winners for these 2 incredible awards. First, congratulations to the Aspiring Ed Life Local Award winner, Mr. Chemo Homer from Arizona. Chemo, we are in awe of you. Chemo embodies the needs of outgoing skills that are crucial to the advancement of our profession as educators. With a unified mission in making racial and social justice a reality in American public schools. His commitment to change has been seen in his leadership within the Aspiring Educators Caucus. He also has a leadership role in his chapter level as well, and has done lots of things to grow his state. He also helps the caucus to work within his geographical area. So that's other states outside of Arizona, to make sure that the members of the Aspiring Educators Caucus have the things that they need. And also they understand just the magnitude of what it is to be a part of our union. And they have the opportunities that are given to them to be able to step into new leadership spaces. Also, I hope that you all have seen this year's NEA Today Aspiring Educators issue. It was amazing. But Kimo was featured in the NEA Aspiring Educators National Magazine. His story was surrounding his service to his members throughout the 2020 presidential election and the rewarding sentiment in the successful election of Joe Biden. Despite the recognition of his efforts, Kimo has always hailed the opportunities granted to him through education and the NEA Aspiring Educators as the driving force for his efforts. There is power in the task of organizing the members of any union, especially our members of the program. Beyond his immensely impressive service to our members, Kimo's commitment to furthering his education would reside in his ultimate decision to, I'm not gonna cry, study abroad next year, while we are in dire need of amazing leaders like Kimo. His decision to broaden his scope as a student overseas benefits not only himself, but the students and communities he will come to serve. Although he is leaving the United States, he has made a firm commitment, potentially by way of me throwing some sort of like, you have to at his way, to stay engaged in our NEA Aspiring Educators program as an individual who will one day return and utilize his skills gained abroad for the benefit of the union and of his students. Thank you so much, Kimo. Congratulations. Now, I want to announce to you the winner of the Aspiring Ed Life National Award. Congratulations to the hashtag Aspiring Ed Life National Award winner, Jonathan Oyaga from California. Jonathan, I feel like you came out of nowhere and came in as just like literally a comet, a ball of fire, hungry, committed, motivated, and ready to get in there, to be the change you want to see in the world. Education is the most powerful weapon with which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. Your body of work in 1 year has been monumental, and all that you have done as a chapter leader has been available and shared and attended by and offered by you and the leadership team to aspiring educators from across this nation. I attended many of the opportunities to see Jonathan and his incredible team that he brought along with him that helped him plan all of these amazing events and opportunities throughout this year. One of those events was with our very own NEA president, Becky Pringle. I'm still kind of cackling over the chat yesterday, you all, where we were talking about like gearing up for battle with Becky. I didn't get to throw my meme in there, but mine was the Mockingjay, where it's like, doo-doo. That's how I feel whenever she speaks. But she was there and she was live to not only speak, but answer member questions. I have been an aspiring educator for some years now, and it is not too often. I have never seen it, so I will say it's not too often that I see a national officer have the time with all of the other things on their plate and decide to be a speaker at a local campus chapter for a conference. And not only that, but for our chapters to understand that we are a union family and that our officers are accessible and willing and want to spend that time with us. And for them to figure out what it takes to get Becky Pringle at your chapter. But however, Jonathan's leadership made this possible. Beyond conferences, the SCTA Pasadena chapter under Jonathan's leadership also provided much needed exposure to the many different levels of activism possible within the Aspiring Educators program. Jonathan also pushed for membership to take a chance and ran for chapter and state level leaderships. He did that himself as the newly elected vice president of the Student California Teachers Association and the new aspiring educator liaison to the CTA Raíces Caucus. An imperative lesson that I have taken from Jonathan Oyaga's leadership and outlook on politics in education never formally came from his words, but by his acts of service to the NEA and to his local community. Jonathan, I am so glad that you are here. I know you are still at the beginning of your educational journey. Don't ever leave because I will find you. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Congratulations. So, y'all take a deep breath. I don't know, do a selfie. The group chat is popping off. My phone is vibrating. I want to step into our last award for the night. And I want to start that with some history about that final award. Carol A. Stowe was the administrative assistant for what was previously known as the Student NEA and the NEA student program for 30 years. The longest serving NEA staff person to ever work with our college students. During her tenure, she helped create the grants program, the community outreach program called Outreach to Teach, and the awards program. She helped create the systems and the structures we rely on today for the aspiring educators. And college students were her pride and joy. Her dedication to young pre-service educators helped build a sustainable program for NEA, our members, and for public education. After her retirement, the college student leaders created an award in her honor to recognize other people and other organizations who have followed in her footsteps to continue building a strong, capable program for pre-service educators in over 1,000 campuses across this country. This award is only awarded in years in which an exemplary effort of an organized, collective effort to support us, the NEA aspiring educators, is deemed absolutely needing of this celebration. Thus, the Carol A. Stowe Humanitarian Award began. Previous recipients included BET, Black Entertainment Television, for its partnership in our government tuition back to school campaign, as well as J.D. Miller, former student leader who helped build community and battled cancer. The NEA Retired Program for its development of the Intergenerational Mentoring Program. Senator Kennedy, on one of the first bills to address interest rates on student loans. Now, this year's Carol A. Stowe Humanitarian Award goes to a group of people within our union family that have poured themselves over the span of years to bring in new opportunities for aspiring educators and for high school students, for them to be involved in the shape and the direction of their leadership team, of their collective efforts, and the work done by the entirety of this group's work. This year's recipient of the Carol A. Stowe Humanitarian Award, the National Education Association Hispanic Caucus, has not only created this space, but shown an incredible effort over this past year to have what, as a person who identifies as multicultural, with part of me being a Latina, an incredibly courageous conversation around race and ethnicity, around colorism, and about what the ultimate scope of the power of their caucus can accomplish. In 2021, the caucus put together a design for apparel of which many of us were sporting today, and a well-organized plan to implement the collection of funding for an Aspiring Educators of Color Scholarship. This scholarship was available to any and all aspiring educators within any ethnic community. Wow. We are so humbled by the work that the NEA Hispanic Caucus has done. From myself as the chair, and on behalf of the 40,000 NEA aspiring educators from across this nation, thank you, NEA Hispanic Caucus, for your work throughout the years and for this year with the Aspiring Educators of Color Scholarship.
Greetings, aspiring educators, and thank you for the invitation to join you here tonight to talk to you about our NEA Hispanic Caucus Aspiring Educators of Color Scholarship Platform. My name is Gladys Marquez, and I'm the proud chair of the NEA Hispanic Caucus. Before I go into the scholarship platform itself and the recipients, I'd like to first talk to you a little bit about why this work is just so vitally important to our work around racial and social justice. You see, educators of color are the most underrepresented subgroup within our profession. And we need to do everything we can to make sure that we recruit and retain educators of color, because they become the role models for the leaders of tomorrow. And that is crucial in our fight for racial and social justice. We started this work way back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when the NEA Hispanic Caucus began partnering with minority serving institutions. And that's something we would like to see amplified at a national level. We're talking about Hispanic serving institutions, historically Black colleges and universities. We're talking about tribal schools and schools supported by the Apollo Network, to really lift up and empower future educators or aspiring educators and provide them the support mechanisms that they need to become the best version of themselves possible. Our work included a participation in the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute, where our then high school students were trained on how to be leaders, how to advocate, how to find their voice, and become the best version of themselves possible, so that they can step into positions of influence and really change the narrative around specific issues that really speak to their passions. One of your current NEA directors, Roman Trejo, participated in these trainings here in Illinois. And as a result, well, he is an amazing leader. And that type of program is something that we would like to see across the enterprise. It would be great if we could have state affiliates that send delegations of students and aspiring educators to these leadership programs, where they can receive the training needed to believe in themselves, to become the best version of themselves possible. As a result of years of organizing to try to recruit and retain educators of color, we landed on the idea of creating a scholarship that was earmarked specifically for aspiring educators of color. And through a lot of innovation and work done by our NEA Hispanic Caucus Aspiring Educator Ad Hoc Committee, thank you committee, we were able to create a platform and design a shirt that yielded us enough money to this year award 7 scholarships to some very worthy participants, and you will see their names shortly. We are very proud of this work. This is work that will not stop here. We plan on continuing it. We're very proud of the work that we do alongside your amazing chairwoman and your fabulous NEA directors, Cameo Kendrick and the team. Thank you so much for always being present, for always leaning in to do the work. and for really helping us innovate and strategize new ways of organizing. We're in this together, and we look forward to a partnership moving forward. Have a great GramAE Awards ceremony, everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
El Pepe. El Pepe. El Pepe. El Pepe. El Pepe. El Pepe. El Pepe.
Hi, my name is Roman Trejo, and I currently serve as one of your NEA Board of Directors. However, I also serve as the NEA Hispanic Caucus Aspiring Educator Director. It is with great honor to see that this award is being put back into an organization that has shown me so much throughout my time as an aspiring educator. My leadership and my voice became crafted by the amazing individuals that I met throughout this organization. And this wouldn't have been possible without the harsh conversations, without the hard times, but most importantly, the love that was lined along all of it. My intersectional modes of my life brought me to this organization and allowed me to see the power of unionism, which is the most important lesson that I learned, that nothing is possible without your partners. Nothing is possible without building meaningful relationships. And nothing is possible without fighting for it. You see, as the Aspiring Educator Director, I thought this wasn't enough. And I wanted to do more. And I was able to bring these ideas and share them with leaders from all over the country within the caucus, and create the ad hoc committee on aspiring educators within the caucus, which eventually became the baseline for why we established the Aspiring Educators of Color Scholarship. I'm so proud to have been able to organize and work with these amazing officers and directors all over the country, and establish the ad hoc committee on aspiring educators, and fundraise enough money to hand out these scholarships. And a lot of the work that I have been able to guide and be a part of, the Hispanic Caucus was always contingent on ensuring that they are conscious of everyone. Not just the active professionals, not just the teachers, but the aspiring educators as well. We were the base for everything they did this year in terms of fundraising, effective organizing, and understanding what is next for the caucus. They understood that we are the future and the present of this profession, and the time to invest in our leadership is now. You see, I can't say thank you enough to this caucus. I quite honestly can tell you I would not be sitting here filming this if it was not for the Hispanic Caucus allowing me to come to terms with my leadership alongside them. So for that, I thank you, NEA Hispanic Caucus. And I thank you, the aspiring educators, for giving this award to an organization that has proved their partnership to us more than they ever have before. Thank you.
Well, here we are at the end of tonight's ceremony, and I just want to say that I've had the absolute best time celebrating my birthday today with all of you and being able to share with everyone the wonderful leaders, advisors, and all of those involved with making this program strong. Shout out to all the aspiring ESPs, paraprofessionals, school counselors, and everyone that has had a hand in creating amazing environments for our students. This year, we've had a lot of challenges, whether it's bad internet during a Zoom meeting or finding ways to incorporate our virtual union work with our busy school schedules. We have had done so much amazing work this past year. Brenda, what was the highlight for you?
Wow, so many. If I could go back in time, though, I would definitely take that NEAAE magic wand that Kristen and Jessica introduced to us and use it during those awkward times that I couldn't find any toilet paper. I'm so grateful for all our local and statewide advisors and organizers like Professor Gomez that inspired Catalina and Israel to run for statewide leadership. And finally, sharing a space with our union communities, all the aspiring educators that took the time to be here with us today. And finally, but not least, our NEA our NEA Aspiring Educators Advisory Committee. Special shout out to Derek, to Ari, to Hannah, to Katie, Larissa, to Nikki, Richard, and Yessie. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that takes place, and we couldn't have done this without y'all. Thank you to our union fam. What about you, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you in thanking the advisory committee. We have all grown so close throughout this entire year together. I mean, it's been crazy, but there's absolutely no other group of people that I would want to share a Zoom room with than the advisory committee. So huge shout out. Brenda, I'm also with you on wanting to go back in time with the magic wand to erase my memories of being 6 feet apart. I swear, like seeing a yardstick, it's too much at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you about wanting to embrace my memory about that for sure. Again, if we could give like a Grammy or not a Grammy, an Emmy to the writers of the commercial, I would definitely want to do that. But also just over tonight and yesterday, I've been absolutely so inspired to be here with all of you. And also just to understand that we have literally 40,000 members behind us. And I know that Nikki, Brenda, and I have really talked a lot about our home states tonight, but we also want to give a huge shout out to everybody all across the U.S., no matter where you are from. And also we want to give a shout out to our union communities and all your amazing conversations that you've been having over the last couple of days. It's been truly inspiring to all of us, and we so appreciate your ability to just be so transparent and so appreciative of what we're doing here tonight. I also am so excited for next year because all of you are going to have another year of progress. I mean, another year of work that you have done for your students, for your community, for your chapter. And so we are so excited to see all of your applications next year for awards. Definitely encourage your local chapters, your state affiliates, anybody and everybody to apply to awards next year because we want to celebrate you. We want to see what you've done over this next year as we slowly emerge out of the pandemic, depending on, again, what state you're from. Not trying to say anything, but again, huge shout out to everybody who submitted awards. Thank you so much. Also, I want to say Nikki spent her entire birthday with us, and she deserves a whole round of applause for doing that. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Also, Nikki, Brenda, and I, again, just want to extend our love and our thank you to all of you that are watching at home. You have absolutely energized, amazed, and inspired us all tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. And I mean, like Cameo and Nikki have both said, you are our future teachers, principals, school support staff, everybody. However, you are absolutely our current leaders. You are absolutely our people right now fighting for change. And we appreciate your voice, your power as a union community. And we need you more now than ever. So thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate all the time that you've spent working on these important issues. Also know that you have a community to lean on. I mean, today we are celebrating our successes, But as Becky reminded us, we've got to gear up for battle. Not every day is going to be easy. Not every day is going to be a success. And that's okay, because you can remember that you have us to lean on. You have 92 GroupMes with all of us in them ready to go to battle for you. So definitely do not be afraid to text in that GroupMe, even though we definitely are in way too many of them. It's okay. You can leave some of them after this conference, but it's all good. They're definitely helpful, and we want to hear from you. We want to support you on your good days, but especially on your bad days, because that's what your Union Fam is here for. Also, another huge thank you to NEA staff for all your help. I mean, literally everything under the sun you've done for us over this past year has been so vital to our success. And so thank you so much to Kimberly, Andrea, May, Yvette, Ann, Michael, Blake, Sonia, and Bernita. Thank you so much. Your work absolutely does not go unnoticed, and you are an integral part of our program. Thank you so much for your support. And we really can't continue our night without thanking somebody who really has been working tirelessly behind the scenes as well. We want to thank Robert Rodriguez as our liaison to the executive committee, who has been just an absolutely steadfast advocate for our program and this conference specifically, not just throughout the year, but specifically making sure that we could have a successful night tonight. Nikki, Brenna, and I also would like to thank Cameo. Cameo has been our fearless, our fierce, and inspiring leader throughout this crazy year, and especially throughout this conference. We are just so grateful to work with you and learn from you. And honestly, y'all need to know that Cameo did the absolute most when it comes to this conference and this ceremony. All those videos, all of that artistic quality, that was Cameo. Absolutely did an amazing job with all of that. So we just wanted to thank her for that, but also just the fact that she truly does put in countless hours of Zoom meetings, talking about iMovie editing hours, zooming into all of your local chapter meetings, and she really does make a difference. And we just wanted to shout her out and say thank you so much for all of your work. We are so lucky to have you, to learn from you, and to be leading with you. So we hope that you enjoyed tonight's ceremony. Nikki, Brenna, I don't know about all of y'all, but I think that I'm definitely going to need some type of AE juice for the second day of the conference. So I've got my low-cal, clear-cal here with me. What do y'all have?
We both got our Zoom Bang coming at us right now. We're definitely going to be using this within the last day of this conference.
Excellent. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good night,
Cheers.
everyone.
Good night.